Welcome back to the Mind and Money podcast. I'm Val, a financial planner.
And I'm Sherry, a financial coach. And today, since it's been a minute, we're hopping down the Reddit thread. And we just recorded an episode around relationships and money and when to start having the conversation. So this one, of course, popped out at me. And I've only read the title. I haven't read the body of it. So I'm very interested to see. And it's very connected to our last episode. So the title is, am I the asshole for keeping track of exactly how much my girlfriend owes me and expecting her to pay me back? So I, 26 male, have been living with my girlfriend, 25 female, for about a year. Oh, this is like, yeah, check. Did you have those money conversations before?
Mm-hmm.
When we first moved in together, she wasn't working, so I covered pretty much everything: dates, takeout, random expenses. When she got a full-time job and I went back to college and he was still working part-time, we agreed she'd take on more of the fun spending since my income dropped. I cover household bills, she pays for groceries, and she said she'd handle more dates, takeout, and extras so I could keep saving when I finished school. That's not exactly what happened. I still end up paying for probably 4/5, that's very specific, of meals out. She'll pay if I specifically ask, but almost never offers on her own. Bigger expenses, we agreed to split. Trips, hotels, concert tickets, I pay up front because it's easier, and she says she'll pay me back, but the money doesn't come. I started keeping a note on my phone because I couldn't remember what was outstanding. Over the past year, it's grown to about $1,000, even after she paid back a few hundred once after repeated reminders. Ooh, that's not even everything. Smaller stuff makes the list. We order takeout, I pay, send her a Venmo request for her half, she ignores it. Out with friends, I put the whole bill on my card. Everyone else sends me their share. She doesn't and never mentions it. It's really getting to me how awkward it's become. I want her to pay. If I want her to pay, I have to make it obvious. Can you get this to me? Or hang back so she's at the register first. I hate it. It makes me feel like I'm managing her spending instead of being her boyfriend. I brought it up several times. She apologizes, says she'll pay, agrees what she owes, then nothing. Once she questioned part of the amount, but usually she doesn't even argue she owes it. I've had some unexpected expenses lately, so money's tighter than usual. I've stopped suggesting date nights because I know I'll likely end up paying for those too. One thing that might matter, I own the house outright, no mortgage. She doesn't pay rent. She buys groceries, I cover the other household bills. I originally figured she just didn't have much money, but recently I glanced at her banking app, stayed at her business, and saw her balance several $1,000s before payday, while mine was quite a bit lower. I don't know her full financial picture, but it made me question whether this is really about affordability. I haven't told her I keep a running total. I know it sounds weird. I only started because things kept getting forgotten, and I'd otherwise have no idea what she owed. Am I the asshole for keeping track and expecting her to actually pay me back? There is a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, question one, how do you own a house outright at age 26? I want to say, anyways, it's fine. It's only important.
Gift, large inheritance.
Yeah. It's only important in the sense of like they don't have a mortgage or rent, which is huge. Because originally when he said he was covering the household, I'm like, wow, that's a lot more than just groceries. But I don't fault him for keeping a tally because if I don't write it down, I will not forget. Or I will not remember. I also will not. I will not forget. So I don't think that's weird to keep a tally.
I think it's weird the lack of discussions around things.
It's almost like very over technology, right? Like I send her the Venmo, I send whatever. It almost feels like, yeah, they're not talking about it. It's just this elephant in the room. And clearly, like, they haven't had the conversation where she's gone, I can't afford to pay you. He had assumed that, and then he saw her banking app and saw that she had a good chunk.
First, how did you see her banking app? I have questions around that, but I will not have answers.
I have a feeling they were sitting close together and he just has strong eyes like me.
Yeah. I'm going through the comments, and so this one seems to be mixed. Okay, so I'll give you my thoughts on it. I think, like, okay, not the asshole, but like, what's a word that's like less than asshole? But like, not the asshole, but like still a bit of a, I don't know, it's like passive aggressive on both of their parts. Like if you just send your girlfriend who you live with and like presumably love, if you're down that far in a relationship, sending someone a Venmo and like letting this be a thorn in your side that's just like festering instead of saying like,
right,
let's sit down and let's have a real conversation about how I'm feeling about this. Like not necessarily about the numbers, although those are very valid. Just like, I'm feeling like this. And we had a conversation and this was the agreement. And I don't feel the agreements being met. Like, how can we move forward? Because it's like, if then you're just not having date nights and you both enjoyed the date nights, just not suggesting them anymore or resisting if she suggests, like, that's you're getting down the path of, yeah, this isn't going to continue to work.
Like if she buys something, let's say, I don't know, something shows up at their house, there's probably a piece of him that's like, you owe me money and you just did this. So there's definitely like they're both being a little skirting around it. Cowardly maybe is the word, where you're just kind of like, there's elephants in the room, but it's recipe for, if this continues, it implodes. Like it doesn't work because things only get bigger. I think she probably has some money scarcity. I think maybe understanding potentially, or maybe she's like, he should pay for it. I don't need to pay for it. Like who knows what the mindset is,
Yeah.
but they need a different system. So to come to the table, have the conversation around how we're feeling, what maybe the different mindsets are, because maybe for her that couple $1,000s is her zero, and if she doesn't have it, she's breaking out in hives. Maybe.
Yeah.
We don't know because we clearly never talked about it. But to have a conversation and then to have a system that's going to work. I think there would have to be like a payment plan to pay back that number. And until there's a system, whether it's a joint account that they both put into and that's what they take from, because it seems like they're content doing she does groceries, he does
Yeah.
utilities. That seems content. But it's the other things that there's a discrepancy. Date nights, right? Going out, takeout. So then every week, do they put into a certain account, and that's what they take it from. So then it doesn't matter if you got it or I got it, because it is from our takeout account.
It's from our fun account. And it could be too that she grew up in a household or has the beliefs around, if you're suggesting a date, or like you're the one that's covering that. Like if I suggest a date, I'll cover it. Or if it was a traditional like male female heterosexual relationship, it's like my dad or my like always paid for those things, like, and my
Right.
mom paid for groceries or whatever that is. And he could also be wildly underestimating how much groceries cost. So there could already be, if you're covering utilities and household bills and she's covering groceries, yes, those bills have probably gone up, but probably not as much as like groceries have gone up,
right,
as of late.
But then
and
she needs to be like, actually, the utilities are 500, groceries are 1,000. In my mind, you owe me 500 every month. So when you send me this Venmo, I just go, yep, he owes me less now, right? Like
yep.
maybe she has a whole system in her mind.
Maybe she's got a tracker in her notes app to be like,
Yes.
I used to spend this much on groceries when we first had this conversation, and now I spend this much. So I'm taking those things ooh, that would be interesting to be like, she's like, you got a notes app track and shit, I got one too. Let's go down this rabbit hole. And I think it's just like stepping back, bringing this conversation out of the shadows and talking about how they each feel.
Yes.
And what they want things to look like. Because she could also be in the like, I don't value going out to dinner. I would rather a date night be a cheap Tuesday movie night, and I would rather have more money to go into savings or future investments. And maybe there's more going on too. It's like maybe she's got a heavy debt load that he doesn't know about, that $2,000 in her bank account that you saw just before payday, like maybe she had a $500 loan payment coming out of there. I just think it's time to bring everything out of the shadows. And maybe that's just the two of you, or maybe that's with an intermediary. Almost where it's like
third person.
Maybe that's a therapist, a financial therapist, maybe that's a financial coach. Just to be like, have somebody else come in and just look at things and be like, yeah, this makes sense based on what you both want. Or just to start having those conversations around, this is what I'd like to see, this is what I'd like to see, and can we find a middle ground? Or is it time to be like, okay, this has been growing into a problem for a while, and the problem's not something we're going to get over, so how do we dissolve the relationship or move forward? Or how do we find that common ground? Like, is this a deal breaker if we can't find common ground? And if it's not now, it probably will be in the future. So the sooner you have those conversations, the better. So if you're just listening to this and you didn't listen to our last episode, go back and catch that one on relationships and what conversations to have and when to have them.
Yeah, even with him going back to school, like that's presumably he's paying for it, or there's maybe student loans, or maybe not. But that's an investment. So he might be taking on debt knowing that that's an investment. Like having those conversations with spouses. Is there anything else that you want to do that's maybe a larger investment? If you have someone who's ready to buy a house and then someone who's ready to go back to school for 4 years, you're it's not impossible to be on the same page, but you need to have some conversations there.
Yeah. Yeah. And some of the comments are kind of not all over the place, but like, you're the asshole for continuing the same pattern when you know she's not paying. Stop putting an entire bill on your card. Tell her it's her turn. You're not married and you're not the asshole to split
Mm,
costs fairly. And also, like, what is fairly, going back to the drawing board and seeing, especially
yes,
with
what's
him
equitable?
returning to schools, like, what does that breakdown look like now?
Yeah. And I think too, he does need to stop putting stuff on his card. It sounds like he likes to be the one to pay.
Yeah.
He needs to
Well,
let
maybe
someone
like, and
else step
especially in a
in.
group setting, he likes to be the hero,
Yes.
or he's getting some type of points. I don't know if she's using you or just frugal as fuck. Either way, I don't think you should be with her if this is how she is. Oh, and then
And
his
that's a pretty
response,
like harsh judgment. I think she probably doesn't feel good getting those Venmo requests, or she's frustrated, right? Like who knows? They need to talk. We gotta talk about
yeah,
this one.
well, this is a good. So his response to one of them, it's just, so we've been together a long time, so I don't want money to be the reason we broke up, especially now that we live together. And then the response to that was, have you heard of the sunk cost fallacy? So, like, yes, you've been together for a long time, but
Hmm.
you're spending money out of what you've agreed upon, or like, it's not
Hmm.
working. And it's kind of like that throwing good money after bad. Do you want to continue like this? How will you feel in another year or 5 years if things don't change and the amount growing on your little tracker is $1,000 and then $5,000? And it's going to eventually dissolve the relationship if there's not a solution. Not the asshole. Moving forward, never tell anyone that you don't pay rent or mortgage, because, especially in a situation like this too, if I own a home outright and a spouse or partner is moving into it, I would
Yeah.
highly encourage somebody to have a rental agreement, a
Cohabitation
cohabitation.
agreements.
Yes. And it varies depending on where you live. But when you cohabitate for a specific amount of time in some countries, they become a spouse, even if you're not married. And that could then lead to them having access to a property if the relationship dissolves. So it's like, having that all in black and white beforehand is really important, especially in this situation where, like, you own a home outright and a girlfriend is moving into it. Like, and it's
Hmm.
shitty to think about, right? Because you're like, I love this person. We've been together X amount of years, months, and like, we're moving in together. And it can feel really shitty having well, here's the cohabitation agreement where you say that, like, this is my property and you're never going to take any of it. Or after X amount, like, you're entitled to this. It feels crappy doing that when you're starting a relationship or moving in together or buying a house together. Like, having that in place can protect both of you and give you both clarity. And I've heard people say, like, well, why would I plan for the relationship to not be successful? I feel like that's a bad
Hmm.
omen, that it's going to increase the odds of the relationship not being successful. But I think the opposite.
You don't keep an umbrella in your car because you're hoping for rain. Like,
Yeah, it's just like, hope for the best and
yes,
plan for the worst.
yes,
If you have life insurance, car insurance, renter's
right.
insurance, home insurance, like, we have these things for the what ifs in life when shit
Yes.
happens.
I think that's a cop out on not wanting to have hard conversations.
So again, not the asshole. Again, it's not necessarily that you should have to be the one to pull this out of the
Hmm.
dark and lead this hard conversation, but she is not doing it. And it's something that is becoming an increasingly difficult thing for you in your relationship. And
Yes. They're both avoiding it.
by not taking the lead and having that conversation, it's just shitty, because she could be thinking everything's good. Like, oh, send me this Venmo. That's funny. Like,
Yeah.
she could think, we're good. She could have a completely different understanding of what things look like and what you both agreed to. And if you're not then leading that conversation because you're feeling disconnected from the agreement, then it's just going to keep getting worse until one of you does
Yes.
something. And if you're on Reddit asking if you're the asshole, it's obviously bothering you
Yes.
enough that get the
That's what,
fuck off of Reddit and have a conversation with your girlfriend and make sure that you take action to get on the same page, or just be open and honest and starting that conversation with, I'm feeling a little frustrated, not coming from a place of
hmm,
you, putting it on like, I feel like this. My understanding of what we agreed to was this, and my perception of what's happening is this. So there's a disconnect. How can we get on the same page? Or move out because we're in different books already.
Mhm.
So I don't remember what you said. Like asshole, not the asshole.
Not the asshole, but the avoidant. Yeah,
Yeah. So maybe coward's a little too strong, but
I am. I think avoidant. Yeah.
yeah. And if you've sent 5 Venmos and she hasn't sent you anything, sending the Venmo then becomes super passive aggressive versus conversation.
Yeah.
I sent you this Venmo, or like, I will be sending you this Venmo because blah, blah, blah. This is
Hmm.
what we agreed to. And maybe it's something that's cleared up really easily. She's like, oh shit, my bad. Like I thought this. Now we're on the same page. But also taking a step back too and actually looking at, well, here's what our joint expenses overall cost. And I love the idea that you mentioned earlier. Maybe they've got a date night account that they each put
Hmm.
money into every payday, and that becomes their budget. And it's not him spending her money or her spending his money. It's them spending their money towards things. And maybe
Because
he thinks there should be $500 a month in that account, and maybe she thinks 200. So maybe they find a middle
yeah,
ground.
somewhere in between. But if that is their one area of disagreements, then that's your solution. If they decide to start a family, they might do that for a kid account because that might be the next area of disagreements. So not only talk about it, but then have a solution because what they're doing
Yeah.
is not working.
And I can't remember if we've done an episode yet on the variety of ways you can manage money with a partner or spouse, but I'm going to look. And if we haven't,
I don't
I'm
know
going
if
to put
we've
that
perfectly laid it out. We could
on the
probably do
list.
a refresh on that. Mm-hmm.
Because there's so many different ways. There is not one right way and one wrong way.
No.
From fully joint to fully separated, there's so
Yep.
many steps in between there as well. So I think that would be good to revisit.
Yeah.
So we are glad you've been here, and just let us know in the comments. Is this gentleman the asshole, or is he not? Or are you kind of on the same page as us where he's not the asshole, but he's definitely not the stand-up gentleman either, because he's letting this fester. So we are glad you've been here, and we can't wait to see you next time on the Mind and Money Podcast.